with Greg Hurst, Roz Abrams, Sam Champion with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast, and the Eyewitness News team. Now, Eyewitness News.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Roz Abrams. 3 television movies told the story of Amy Fisher and her alleged affair with Joey Buttafuoco. Now it is Amy's turn. Today she left court after telling her side of it to a Long Island grand jury. What she and other witnesses say could spell trouble for Buttafuoco. NJ Burkett is live in Mineola with the very latest. NJ.
Roz, it was described as 90 minutes of gripping testimony. As you saw just a second ago, Amy Fisher was rushed from the courthouse here about 20 minutes ago. Her attorney told me that if she did well, Buttafuoco will be indicted. If she didn't, he won't. Simple, Eric Nyberg says, as that. She is the star witness in this case, but sources tell us she is not by any means the only witness.
You said that you really didn't.
The Nassau County District Attorney arrived at 10 o'clock this morning. Although the case against Joey Buttafuoco is said to be extremely strong, Dennis Dillon refused to discuss it. So too did his lead prosecutor, Assistant DA Fred Klein.
Can you say, Mr. Klein, whether Amy Fisher is a more credible witness now than she was several months ago?
I really don't want to comment on it.
Details of the Buttafuoco case have remained a closely guarded secret. But a source familiar with the investigation told Eyewitness News exclusively the relationship between Amy Fisher and Joey Buttafuoco was, in his words, a very public affair. According to this source, prosecutors have developed evidence now that the two had a number of underage sexual encounters, many of them at local motels, where sources say Buttafuoco checked in for the afternoon and routinely signed his own name.
I had an affair with a married man.
Although prosecutors admit that Amy Fisher has credibility problems, sources say that a parade of independent witnesses can now document their behavior in public, as well as pinpoint times and places. According to this strategy, independent witnesses will establish the couple's whereabouts on a given day. Amy Fisher is expected to testify to exactly what went on behind closed doors. Sources tell Eyewitness News that an indictment might well be possible on Amy Fisher's testimony alone. But independent witnesses are crucial to a conviction. Buttafuoco's attorney admits an indictment is inevitable, but a conviction, he says, will be far more difficult.
Remember something. There are 2 sides to this case, and only one side's coming out now.
Once again, Amy Fisher is off the witness stand. She was the second of 2 witnesses heard today. The other witness, the first witness in this case, was Amy Fisher's mother, Rose Fisher. More witnesses are expected to testify here tomorrow. We're live tonight at the Nassau County DA's office, Mineola, Long Island. NJ Burkett, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Former daycare worker Margaret Kelly Michaels is a free woman tonight. She was granted release on $75,000 bail. Michaels' conviction on 115 counts of child abuse was overturned last week. On her way into court today, she proclaimed her innocence. And now that she's free, her family, as you might expect, is ecstatic.
Where does she go from here?
She's going to start her life again.
That's right. She's going to start her life again. What is she looking forward to? Has she told you?
She's looking forward to living again.
Okay.
Among the conditions for her bail, Michaels must work full-time and have no contact with children.
The child custody battle between Woody Allen and Mia Farrow focused on a therapist today, with Farrow's lawyer trying to undercut the doctor's credibility. The bitter fight between the 2 Hollywood stars centers on Allen's bid for custody of their adopted children, Dylan and Moses, and their biological child, Satchel. Celeste Ford is at the courthouse in Lower Manhattan with late details. Celeste.
Roz, when we left off yesterday, the psychologist said that Mia Farrow was so upset with Woody Allen, the doctor feared Allen was in physical danger. At the end of today's testimony, the judge asked the psychologist which parent should have custody of the 3 children. She said further evaluation is needed, but whatever the outcome, it's critical the children see both parents. Woody Allen, dressed in his courtroom uniform today, tweed blazer, baggy corduroys, and crewneck sweater. His opponent in the child custody dispute, Mia Farrow, favors a New York staple, black on black. In the courtroom, they sat through a tedious session with child psychologist Susan Coates. She brought a dry academic air to her testimony. Most of it favored Allen. I thought that Allen was devoted to the children, that he really wanted to be a major part of their lives. He was enormously committed to being a parent. Coates said that she stopped treating the couple's son, Satchel, seen here on the right, last November when Farrow fired her. Later, Farrow's attorney noted the psychologist continued seeing Allen once or twice a week. Gerald Walpin, you were advising him how to cope with the stress Satchel was experiencing due to the visitation. Coates, yes. Did you charge? Yes, an hourly rate, $175. There was a collective gasp from the audience. Again and again, the attorney faulted her ability to take accurate notes. Yesterday, Coates said Farrow called Allen evil after discovering his affair with her daughter, Soon-Yi. Today, Walpin asked the psychologist, isn't it a fact Soon-Yi was told to leave camp because of repeated calls from Allen passing under another name? Coates, yes. Did you know he called 11 times and accepted 57 collect calls? No. Referring to the unusual nature of the affair, Walpin asked, isn't this evil? Coates, I would say this is somebody whose judgment is impaired. Would you agree the layman would use this word, evil? The psychologist responded, yes. During the course of her testimony, the psychologist said Farrow called her daughter Soon-Yi retarded. Another time, Farrow said Soon-Yi has a learning disability. This in contrast to earlier testimony that Soon-Yi Previn is on the dean's list at Drew University. The testimony continues on Thursday, and we're live in Lower Manhattan. Celeste Ford, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Well, the Reverend Al Sharpton will put his legal problems behind him at midnight. That's when his jail and work release sentence ends for leading a civil rights protest. But Sharpton already has a new protest in mind. You see, he's going to Washington Thursday to lobby against Rupert Murdoch getting a waiver to own both Channel 5 and the New York Post. Sharpton wants Murdoch first to guarantee more jobs for minorities.
Greg, while Al Sharpton is free to move, several hundred people in northern New Jersey are stuck, the victims of floodwaters and emergency evacuations from their homes. Flood warnings remain in effect for several rivers. Some streets in Wayne are closed, the result of melting snow and ground saturation. Now the concern is more rain. Bertha Coombs joins us live from Lincoln Park with the very latest. Bertha.
That's right, Roz. The golf course behind me, you can barely make out the greens from the fairways because of huge puddles of water. People were kind of breathing a sigh of relief today because there wasn't any rain, so they got a chance to dry out a little bit. But officials are worried that if there's more rain this week, they may have to brace for some of the worst flooding this area has seen in a long time. Flooding is part of life in low-lying areas of Lincoln Park. But today, life in some of these flood-prone neighborhoods was like something out of Robert Redford's movie. A river runs through it. It now runs clear through Bob Pina's yard, 6 inches deep into his basement.
Everything from downstairs came upstairs anticipating the flood. And sure enough, it came. Thank God it really hasn't rained hard up here, because we'd really get even more.
The problem here is that riverbanks in the Passaic River Basin are saturated. The combination of rain and snow runoff from up north is more than the area can handle right now. Believe it or not, though, the water actually looks like it has subsided a little today in Hoffman Grove, at least according to Donna Hopper. So she wasn't in a rush to get out, though seemingly stranded.
When are you going to leave?
The fact that it didn't rain today kept the situation in check. But this firefighter is worried about people getting stranded if there's more rain before this water subsides.
Just coming up higher and how much we got to come out with our boats, and hopefully the people clean up and get out now before it gets any worse.
Right now, it's really just a wait-and-see situation. They're watching to see when the rain moves in. When it does, they may issue evacuation orders in even larger areas. And the recommendation is if you are asked to evacuate, do it before you have to, before you're forced to, and the water has you stranded. We are live in Lincoln Park, New Jersey. I'm Bertha Coombs, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Bertha. A little bit later on Eyewitness News, Sam Champion will be here with word of when we might be in for more wet weather.
No floodwaters, but sharp words were overflowing on Capitol Hill today in the fight over defense spending. Representative Ron Dellums, the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, said Pentagon budget cuts don't go far enough. But Joint Chiefs Chairman Colin Powell says that he will resist what he calls attempts at short-sightedness that would hurt the nation's forces. The House committee is holding ongoing hearings into how much to cut the defense budget. Well, the battle lines have also been drawn in the fight over abortion. President Clinton is ready to ask Congress to repeal the law that would forbid federal funds from being used for abortions. It's a move that could generate significant controversy. Andy Field is live in Washington with details. Andy?
Greg, way back in 1976, Congress passed a law that said that if you were too poor to pay for your own abortion, the United States government wasn't going to help you. Now, since then, many charities in a number of states, including New York and New Jersey, have stepped in to help provide some of that money. But now the White House says that the freedom of choice should be made available to everyone.
Women will decide our fate, not the church, not the state. Women will decide.
If you have enough money and live in the right state, the right to choose abortion is still easy. But Presidents Reagan and Bush successfully made that choice as difficult as possible. President Clinton says it's time to get government out of the private operations, especially if you're poor.
For 16 years, you've had the federal government flat out prohibiting states from spending the money to pay for abortions, whether or not they're medically necessary, whether or not they result from a case of rape.
Illinois Representative Henry Hyde sponsored the ban on government-paid for abortion. He says losing the Hyde Amendment will mean at least 1 million more abortions each year.
Every child you save, whether it is of a poor family or a non-poor family, is a victory.
Planned Parenthood says that many women who cannot find the $220 for an abortion simply don't have one.
We know that about 25% of the women who should be eligible for an abortion through Medicaid are not getting those abortions, and they're bearing children that they cannot afford.
If the president overturns the Medicaid abortion ban, it's not clear who will pay for it. The White House won't say how much it'll cost. And the president may have a very difficult time getting this lifting of the ban on abortions through Congress, at least federally paid for abortions, because while public opinion polls say that the majority of Americans favor the freedom of choice in abortion, the same amount of Americans also say they don't want their taxes paying for it. We're live at the White House. I'm Andy Field, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
In search of a compromise and in search of a thief, the driving instructor who wanted to give a road test but ended up giving a lot more than that.
Also, the toddler who went on the ride of her life. Would you believe clinging to the back of her daddy's van? The story of a miracle trip coming up. And from Angelica Houston to Susan Sarandon, what they were wearing at the Oscars. We will talk to some fashion experts and some of the designers of the gowns that you saw last night a little bit later on Eyewitness News.
The race is on for mayor of New York, and Eyewitness News brings on the challengers. In a special report, meet the men who are fighting it out for the city's top job. Thursday at 11, meet Rudolph Giuliani. His friends say he's quick, thorough, a man with a plan for New York. His foes say he's a media monger, and we'll all pay the price. Master decision maker or master of the publicity game. Watch the 93 vote, the mayoral elections, the challengers. An Eyewitness News special report Thursday at 11, right here on Channel 7.
Now you have a choice. Lawn Doctor's time-tested lawn care or their new all-natural fertilization program. Get the environment-supporting care and healthy lawn you want. Lawn Doctor. Nobody does it better. Naturally.
Have you seen all the press Ford's been getting? Ford Taurus is the #1 selling car in America. In fact, of the 10 best-selling vehicles in America, 5 of them are Fords. Only your Ford dealer can make this claim. I keep telling you, Ford is winning back America.
Now, choose between an Escort 3-door, 4-door, 5-door, or wagon and pay just $199 a month for 24 months.
Your Ford dealer is winning back America with 5 of the 10 best sellers. See your tri-state quality Ford dealer and see for yourself.
We won! I knew it!
Who's we, and what did we win?
Healthy Favorites Bologna.
We won Healthy Favorites Bologna?
No, Shelley, Healthy Favorites Bologna beat Healthy Choice in a national taste test.
Well, it is 97% fat-free.
Well, it won the taste test because it tastes better. Besides, it's from Oscar Mayer.
So it's not surprising it was the favorite.
It's not surprising we're the spokespeople either. Great taste, very little fat.
Healthy Favorites from Oscar Mayer, the taste test winner.
This is Jeopardy!
Count these for 100. What is Illinois?
Television 500.
Seen any exciting television lately? Take the Jeopardy challenge.
Watch Jeopardy tonight at 7, right here on Channel 7.
Florida state investigators now say that pitcher Tim Cruz was legally drunk when he was killed in a boating accident last week. Cruz and Cleveland Indians teammate Steve Olin were killed and Bob Ojeda was seriously injured when their boat rammed a dock. Authorities say Cruz, who was at the controls, had a very high blood alcohol level. Ojeda says that they never even saw the dock until they hit it. So far, investigators have only a few clues to what caused Sunday's fatal crash of a twin-engine plane in New Jersey. The 6 passengers from the Pittsburgh area were killed when the plane went down just minutes into their flight. Investigators are focusing on the condition of the engines as well as the total weight of the plane. Witnesses reported hearing the engine sputter shortly before the crash.
On Long Island, what began as a simple road test, the kind you take when you have to get a driver's license, ended with the man conducting the test giving more than the exam. As David Navarro reports, he was robbed.
It's not every day that the Department of Motor Vehicle is the target of a robbery. But yesterday, a 51-year-old license examiner from Garden City, Long Island, was taken for the kind of ride he'd just as soon forget. The Department of Motor Vehicle will not comment on the case, but police say what started out as a routine day of drivers taking their road tests ended in trouble on this street here in Garden City, Long Island, after 2 of the people taking the test turned on the examiner.
It's unusual that somebody would basically prey upon a New York State motor vehicle inspector at a road test area.
The 2 would-be drivers were driven to a test site by a 3rd man in a blue Toyota. When the first suspect went to take the test, the examiner became suspicious of the ID the man handed him. When they finished the test, the examiner told the man he would have to return to a DMV site with better ID before he would be given a license. It was during the 2nd suspect's test that things took a turn for the worse. This after a 4th suspect ran into the street waving his hands, causing the driver to come to a halt and the examiner to jump out.
It's at that time where that 4th individual and some of the others, if not all of the others, then confronted him and roughed him up a bit, threw him to the ground, injured his leg.
The examiner was not seriously hurt, but all 4 of the suspects drove off with their paperwork and a state motor vehicle validation stamp, something that can turn a learner's permit into a temporary valid license. DMV workers say this is the 3rd such robbery attempt out of the Hicksville office this year. Some believe the suspects were trying to get a fake license using fake ID. But so far, cops still don't know what the motive was behind the incident. Reporting from Garden City, Long Island, David Navarro, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And the 4 men being sought face second-degree robbery charges when they are caught.
And well, listen to this. An Illinois toddler took an unexpected road test. It's a miracle that she even survived the ride. A 2.5-year-old girl, Allison Horry, crawled onto the rear bumper of her father's van and sat there unseen as he drove away. Another driver spotted the child clinging to a strap attached to the rear door. The van was traveling 60 miles an hour.
I went out in the wrong lane on the curb. I could see the whole intersection and got alongside him and told him that there was a kid on the back, and he stopped and found out it was his own child. And then she was fine. So.
Scary. Wow, Allison had been hanging on for 6 miles. And while she was very upset, she didn't get a scratch.
Oh. My, riding high at the Oscars, the winners, the losers, the surprises, and the backstage reaction. Joel Siegel reports from Los Angeles.
And yes, the Brooklyn connection, the woman from Brooklyn who played a woman from Brooklyn. She walked home with her own award, and her parents were thrilled. We'll have that story when we come back.
At the Academy Awards, you heard Al Pacino speak of the connection between his Oscar and a young girl from the Bronx.
I just can't forget that girl.
Today, we go to that South Bronx neighborhood and get the young girl's story at 6 on Eyewitness News, right here on Channel 7.
Do the one. A&S one-day sale. Wednesday. Store-wide. The one day to get 50% plus an extra 10% off every Sealy mattress in stock. For example, this $220 Sealy Posturepedic Twin is just $99. Plus free in-home setup. Free carton removal. We'll even call to confirm delivery. Buy any Posturepedic set, get a bonus bed frame. It's 50% plus an extra 10% off every Sealy in stock. Wednesday only. A&S one-day sale. Terrific.
Okay, where am I? Wow, that looks like a paradise to be discovered just by me. I bet that's Tahiti.
No.
No, I didn't think it was, really. It looks like the outback to me. Yeah, down under. There's great snorkeling. This has got to be Australia, mate. No, it's the Mediterranean. It's Greece, isn't it?
No, where the new world meets the old world. Discover the new old world. Puerto Rico.
Is it Puerto Rico, by any chance?
8 engine patents, 9 chassis patents,
4 drivetrain patents. Now you can enjoy the benefits of over 80 internationally patented ideas in the Mitsubishi Diamante ES for just $1,000 down and as little as $299 a month. Never has the cost of progress been so easy to live with.
Enjoy sophisticated technology. Lisa Diamante at your Tri-State Mitsubishi Motors dealer.
And care to solve the puzzle?
Be a wheel watcher.
Tonight at 7:30, right here on Channel 7.
It's America's game.
The wait is finally over. After months of speculation, we finally know the winners of this year's Oscars. The big winner is Clint Eastwood's revisionist tale of the West, Unforgiven. The 62-year-old filmmaker, who before this year was never nominated, was also named Best Director. Best Actress went to Britain's Emma Thompson for Howard's End. And finally, after 6 previous nominations and losing Best Supporting Actor, Al Pacino finally won Best Actor for Scent of a Woman. Following a 20-year drought, Gene Hackman was called back to the podium, winning Best Supporting Actor for Unforgiven. And Best Supporting Actress went to first-time nominee Marisa Tomei, a moment that was among Joel Siegel's favorites.
And the Oscar goes to Marisa Tomei.
The very first category, and a huge surprise. For the rest of the awards would go pretty much as predicted. Another surprise, they figured out a way to keep the acceptance speeches from going on too long. Maybe next year they'll figure out how to do that with the presenters. Even Snow White seemed to go on forever after. And with Tibet and Vietnam and Haiti and Panama, the Oscars spent more time on foreign policy than last year's political conventions. But in New York, Anne Bancroft and Dustin Hoffman got off a real ad-lib.
Are you trying to seduce me?
Not anymore.
Federico Fellini thanked his wife.
And please, stop crying.
And everyone thanked Audrey Hepburn in Oscar's most moving tribute. Oh, and they gave away a few awards. The Crying Game didn't surprise, but it did win for Best Original Screenplay. The big winner, Clint Eastwood. Unforgiven won 4 Oscars. Eastwood, never nominated before, took home 2 for Best Director and Best Picture. Heck, in this Year of the Woman, he even thanked his mom.
The greatest woman on the planet is here tonight. That's my mother, Ruth.
I believe that this picture came at the right time, had the right message, and I was enthusiastic about it, and I had the right cast.
Another big winner, Al Pacino, Best Actor, Scent of a Woman. He'd been nominated 8 times. He finally won.
Where's the Oscar going to go?
Well, at this point, I think what I'll do is I'll put it in some place where I can see it when I wake up. Because I remember when I got my first baseball glove when I was a little kid. I remember when I put it someplace in the morning, I'd like to put it someplace where I would see it the first thing in the morning.
Emma Thompson won as Best Actress for Howard's End. And Gene Hackman, who won for The French Connection more than 20 years ago, was the only previous Oscar winner to win a major award, Supporting Actor for Unforgiven.
Where did the anger and the meanness come from in the character you played?
Well, that's all pure acting.
Did the show run long? Well, about an hour ago, I phoned in a $50 pledge myself and kept waiting for Jerry to sing You'll Never Walk Alone. But 2 film greats won big tonight, Al Pacino and Clint Eastwood. They've never won before. That's 2 happy endings, only in Hollywood. I'm Joel Siegel, Channel 7 Eyewitness News at the Oscars.
And keep those pledges coming. The phone banks are still open. Well, this year, Oscar has a Brooklyn connection as well in Best Supporting Actress Marisa Tomei. Tomei won the Oscar for her role as the spicy Mona Lisa Vito in the movie My Cousin Vinny. She seemed thrilled to collect the award, but not nearly as excited as her father.
I am so ecstatic, I can't speak. I lost my voice because I was screaming so much. I was so thrilled. It was one of the most thrilling moments of my life.
You bet, that's a father for you. Tomei's family and friends who couldn't attend the ceremony in Los Angeles celebrated at a party in Greenwich Village.
Our weather has been less than award-winning. Sam Champion is next with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast. And once he was New York's top judge until he was toppled by scandal. Now he's busy making a deal. Details on Saul Wachtler's plea bargain.
And a new link between food and lung cancer in women. Dr. Jay Adlersberg with details. Plus, what was the hot color at the Oscars last night? The best and the worst, the fashions of the stars, a little bit later on Eyewitness News.
The Acura Legend sedan is rated as having the lowest overall cost of ownership in its class. The Legend also retains more of its value, and yet it still costs less than its competitors. All of which raises the question, why outspend your neighbors when you can outsmart them instead? Lease a Legend for just $399 a month. See your Acura dealer for details.
At Wendy's, we're making a big deal out of 4 great meals.
Presenting Wendy's old-fashioned combos. We've taken a big order of Biggie fries and a 20-ounce drink, teamed them up with our old-fashioned quarter-pound single, our half-pound double with cheese, Wendy's delicious chicken sandwich, and our big classic with cheese. Then we trimmed the price. So at Wendy's, you can get a great deal on a great meal every day.
Sounds like a great combo to me.
Wendy's voted #1 in overall satisfaction by American consumers.
Don't eat with your hands. Don't play with your food. Don't pick. Don't reach. You know that's rude. Elbows off the table. Take small bites. Sit up straight. Chew it right. These are rules you might have heard, but take our word, Weaver. That's how to eat. Weaver. That's how to eat.
When I first started Champion, my goal was to create a company that I would love to do business with. A company made up of caring men and women who really want to change the mortgage industry for the better. And a company where so many more customers could easily get a second mortgage and at very low rates. I never would have dreamed it possible. But for 3 consecutive years, we've been chosen one of the 500 fastest growing private companies in the country. With growth like that, we must be giving people what they want. When your bank says no, Champion says yes.
These women say they were raped by prison guards. This guard faces 21 charges of sexual misconduct on the next Oprah. Tomorrow at 4, right here on Channel 7.
Before we talk about the rain that might be moving our way, a little bit later on in this program, we're going to talk about the clothes that people wore to the Oscars. Right. And I'm just curious, of all the ladies, which ones did you think were like the hottest?
Go ahead.
Jodie Foster.
I had no doubt. That's exactly what I was going to say, because when she came on, I mean, it was just kind of like, whoa, she looks so great.
She really, truly did.
Really
if these women can ever tell me how they do it, I'm going to try it. I'll try everything.
I mean, I'm not taking tips from you anyway.
No, baby, but I'm going to get some of those dresses cut down to here, I tell you that.
And I'm not going to sound like Mr. Blackwell, but Catherine Deneuve did not look at her best last night.
Liz did, though.
Liz looked great.
She was cooking.
I think those diamonds helped out a little bit, too. Right?
They're a girl's best friend.
That's right. Everybody else was talking about this tonight. We thought we'd get thought we'd get our shot in. We might as well also talk about rain. We don't have an immediate problem with it, but there are still some areas that are experiencing high flood waters, and that's mostly northern New Jersey. So let's show you the warnings that are still out. Now, these warnings are out simply because the rivers are at their banks right now. Passaic, Rockaway, Wanacue, and Ramapo rivers all are flooding at this point. Now, not that any water has been added to the situation today, and not that we're expecting much more in the form of showers tonight or even into tomorrow. Tomorrow's a beautiful day, but that water is still over its banks, and until the rivers start to drop a little bit later on tonight, those flood warnings are out, but we are expecting more rain later on in the week, and there will be an extensive flooding problem in that area again before we wrap this week out. So let's talk about the forecast and what's to come. 53 degrees outside right now, relative humidity at 74%, the barometer's rising, winds are from the north at about 9 miles per hour, 53, 46, and in the short term, the weather looks fantastic. You've been waiting for some good-looking skies, and here they come. We'll show you the satellite picture first. Here's what's going on. This low is so slow. Pulling out of the picture, we still have some bands of cloudiness to get through, and there have been 1 or 2 widely scattered showers, particularly Orange, Putnam counties in the last hour or so, and those showers are kind of scattering themselves to the southern areas, and so it's likely 1 or 2 of you will see a few more showers. But look at this nice band of clear skies just behind it. We step into that tonight, and it lasts for a good part of tomorrow, and then we've got this whole next system that's going to kind of cloud up and rain all over us for the end of the week. But at least know that tomorrow, if you're trying to get outdoors, skies are going to cooperate. It's going to be a good-looking day, and we'll show you what else is going on to go along with that. There's plenty of warm air in some places. Nashville, Tennessee came in today in the 80s. Yeah, 81, 82 degrees, and that was at mid-afternoon. We'll probably end up being warmer than that. Same type of thing running all the way down into South Georgia and into Florida. Plenty of warm air here. The problem, and well, the good thing, I guess, that this warm air does squeeze a little bit in our direction. The problem is that our winds are from a northerly direction tomorrow, so while we get a chance to grab onto some certainly warmer air, we'll make it to 60, but really we don't get a chance to get above that because, again, northerly direction winds just will not tap into some of this really warm air that's down south. So it's an improvement over today in the last couple of days, certainly. It's the bright spot in the week tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine out there, a mostly sunny day. We get a chance to run those numbers up to 60 degrees. If you've got anything to do outside, do it tomorrow because the following day